Hey YouTubers, and welcome to Kick-Ass Christianity. My name's Corey Wolf, and I may be wrong, but I'm not lying. Welcome to another episode. Today we're going to be discussing whether or not Christians should be playing video games. All right, so I'm an adamant and accomplished gamer. Just a quick history about me and my gaming. I started with the Atari system when I was, wow, how old was I? Probably like 10. And Atari came out. I actually started with the Pong system. Actually, even before Atari, we had Pong. Really dating myself, as I said before. I'm 54. I'll be 55 in September. And Pong was a video game for those of you that don't know or don't recall. Pong was a video game that was very simple. It was basically tennis, a video version, digital tennis, where you had two paddles on the sides of the monitor, and you would move these paddles back and forth, and a little ball would bounce back and forth, and it's actually a square, not a ball, but it would go around, and you would move these paddles back and forth and try and get it back. The big variation was that you could turn those paddles into holes. So basically you would try and catch that ball that was coming, and every time you caught it or went into your side, then you would get a score. And that was Pong. Then they came out with Atari, which was a cartridge system. They introduced Pac-Man. That was the big game, Pac-Man. From there, I got into the Nintendo systems, which is another cartridge system, but had a lot more processor power. I think it was a 64 chip or whatever they call it. I'm not really the tech side of it. I just enjoy video games. And then they came out with Mario Brothers. I actually used to go to arcades. My father was a really big a pinball wizard. He liked pinball, and those are the machines that you may see in some kind of what they call flashback films, where in the 70s you would actually have a physical machine where a big metal ball would come down, and you'd have little flippers that would knock it up, and it would hit little bumpers and send up bells and whistles and all those kinds of things. Then it progressed into the arcades, where we could go in, and for a quarter you could play different video game consoles, and those were real popular before these home systems became so popular. Now, of course, we have the PlayStation and Xbox gaming systems. Those are basically dedicated computers that were put together and are dedicated just for gaming. So there are a lot of gamers out there that game on their PCs. Those actually lended to the multiplayer online gaming. This became a real apparent issue with a game that was called World of Warcraft. This actually was the very first time that I heard of gaming as being a socially conscious addiction issue. There are people that lost. The one famous story that I heard was a NFL football player that gave up his linebacker, great big strong dude, but he gave up his NFL football career to play this World of Warcraft, where I guess I don't get into these role-playing games. What do they call them? Anyway, I don't play them anyway, so it doesn't matter. But you get a character, and you get so many points, and you're a magician or whatever, and the more points you get, the stronger your powers get, and you could actually pay money to get powers. People built up characters with real strong powers, and they would sell those characters for money. It was a pretty big deal. Probably still is, as far as I know. I don't know. Then they got into this whole issue with The Sims. I don't know if you know this, where you could be an avatar, and this was a socially conscious game where people were cheating on their real wives, their real life human wives, with these avatar why our wives' affair, sexual affair, whatever, on a video game. And I was like, what? And then in reality, people were meeting, and they would still, even though they were human beings in the same room, they play on different computers, and they would still like have these avatars doing relationship things where you could go on, exotic vacations. You could own a jet, you could get a yacht, and all those kind of things that you couldn't afford in real life. But through this game, your avatar could actually experience these kinds of situations, scenarios. So it's very, very complicated issue. A lot of my wife is a substance abuse counselor and works with people in addiction. And I have my thoughts about that as far as what addiction is and how it works. And so, yeah, that's a really real thing, very real thing. But for me, and today, what we're going to be talking about are these types of video games. These are the games that I like to play. You may even note that I don't even like to pay full price for my video games. These are all PlayStation 3 consoles. Are older. They're like, I don't know, maybe 5 years old now, 4 years old. PlayStation 3. I own the PlayStation 1, PlayStation 2, and this is the PlayStation 3. They now have the PlayStation 4 Pro. If PlayStation's watching this, hey, sponsor this channel. I'd love to give a review on your PlayStation 4 system and whether or not Christians should be playing on that. I'm just kidding. But what I really want to talk about with you guys, and what I want to hear about, more than even talk about, I want to hear about is what your thought is about these types of games. This Assassin's Creed, I love this game. I'm actually currently playing this game. This game is where you're literally an assassin and you go around. It has Illuminati overtones. It has, they talk about the Crusades and the Knights Templars, and the Knights Templars are actually the arch enemy of the assassins, which are the gatekeepers of truth in that type of thing. Far Cry series, very popular series, Far Cry series. You're basically fighting pirates and rescuing whole cultures from being overrun by evil men. This is a Sniper Elite. I like this game because it's a sniper game. I love sniper stories, enemy at the gates, that type of thing. You'll note that I did put up a poster today, American Ultra, just to stimulate some type of interest and engagement as to whether or not Christians should be playing games where they're killing other human beings. Now, this one is you're killing Nazis, okay? So, there's a level of good guys versus bad guys kind of thing, but at the end of the day, you're still killing other human beings. And in this one in particular, one of the features about this one is that you get to see your shot travel as you shoot. Your shot travels in slow motion as you penetrate different organs of the body. The brain, headshots, you get more points towards your score. Heart shots, lung shots, kidney shots, whatever. It does it in slow motion. It's very, very violently graphic. Should Christians be subjecting themselves to that? There's other apocalyptic scenario games that are very popular, talking about end times and what we would have to do to survive. I just confessed to you, and I told you that I play these games. I mean, these are my games. I didn't pick these up at a thrift store as an example to show you these are my games. I've played these games. I get challenged. I have to keep my heart open. I submit myself to the counsel. The Bible says very clearly that there's wisdom in a multitude of counsel. But I don't feel a level of conviction. In other words, I don't feel God's unhappiness with me while I'm playing these games. And I think one of the big challenges is always going to be time. How are you spending your time? What are you doing with your time? The time is the most valuable asset that we have. It's the most valuable thing that we have is in our life is our time. It's not our money. It's not our possessions. It's our time. That's what we've been given. And God has very clearly showed us that we can take our time and even our valuables, and we can exchange those things, those time, money, for treasures in heaven. In other words, if we sacrifice here on earth, we're given an opportunity to have what God calls treasures in heaven, which is another discussion I want to have, because what are treasures in heaven? If the streets are made of gold, the gates are made of pearls, and you're in the presence of the eternal creator of all things in absolute joy and peace and contentment. What could God consider to be treasures? I believe the answer to that is in the book of Proverbs, but that's what we're talking about today. We're talking about video games. So please comment down below, share with me what your viewpoint is on that, whether there should be an age thing. Are some games not appropriate for young people? I think that's kind of an obvious question, but I still want to hear your opinion about those things. Whether Christians should play video games. If so, what's an appropriate length of time to play video games? What types of video games should be played? Should it just be Christian video games where we're going around just doing good deeds all the time? Those kinds of things. They're always interesting to me. I think video games are something that you should certainly have your heart open to God, to how much time you're spending playing those games, what types of games you're subjecting yourself to, how they affect you, how they change your mindset, your views, your understanding about the world and other human interactions. This is another one of those long videos, about 12 minutes now, maybe by 15 by the time I get wrapped up. But yeah, man, let me know what you think. I really want to know what you think about this. That's the whole point of this channel. Let me know what you think about this movie. Have you watched it? What do you think of it? There's a lot of cannabis use. It's another subject that I do want to explore on this channel. Cannabis. Bible says every herb-bearing seed is yours. It's an herb-bearing seed for sure. It's been criminalized. But there's a whole lot of controversy about that particular issue as well. So we'll talk about that. And video games, are they good for Christians? My opinion is it has to do with the individual Christian. So that's my opinion. I might be wrong, but I'm not lying. I love you guys. This has been Kick-Ass Christianity. Be sure and come back either later today or tomorrow. I'm trying to do this a daily thing, but I'm so excited. It's so new to me, and but I know these are a little bit long, and we all have different things to do during our days. So hope to see you soon. Love you guys. Kick-Ass Christianity. Peace.